This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
On a cold and gray November morning in 2016, a small crowd gathered on a snow-cleared square in front of the Kremlin in Moscow. They were there to witness the unveiling of a monument to Grand Prince Vladimir, the ruler of Kievan Rus, the first Russian state between 980 and 1015. According to legend, Vladimir was baptized in the Crimea, then part of the Byzantine Empire, in 988, thus beginning the conversion of his people to the Eastern Orthodox Church. Russia's main religious leaders, the Patriarch of Moscow and all Russia, the Catholic Ordinariate, the Grand Mufti, the Chief Rabbi, and the head of the Buddhist Sangha, were all in attendance in their multicolored robes. The bronze figure bearing cross and sword stood at over 20 meters tall. It was the latest in a long series of elephantine shrines to Vladimir, all erected since the fall of communism in the same kitsch Russian national style developed in the 19th century. Other Russian towns, Belgorod, Vladimir, Astrakhan, Pataysk, and Smolensk, had built monuments to the Grand Prince with funding from the state and public subscriptions. The Moscow statue was financed by the Ministry of Culture, a military history society, and a motorcycle club. Another Vladimir, President Putin, gave the opening address. Even as he spoke, he managed to look bored. He seemed to want the ceremony to be done as soon as possible, perhaps the reason why it started earlier than planned, when the film director Fedor Bondarchuk, who had vocally supported the recent Russian annexation of Ukrainian Crimea, invited Vladimir Vladimirovich to the microphone. Reading in a flat tone from his script, Putin noted the symbolism of the date for this unveiling, 4 November, Russia's Day of National Unity. The Grand Prince, he proclaimed, had gathered and defended Russia's lands by founding a strong, united, and centralized state, incorporating diverse peoples, languages, cultures, and religions into one enormous family. The three modern countries that could trace their origins to Kievan Rus, Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine, were all members of this family, Putin continued. They were a single people, or nation, sharing the same Christian principles, the same culture and language which he suggested formed the Slavic bedrock of the Russian Empire and the Soviet Union. His point was echoed by the Patriarch Kirill, who spoke next. If Vladimir had chosen to remain a pagan, or had converted only for himself, there would be no Russia, no great Russian Empire, no contemporary Russia. Natalia Solzhenitsyn, the writer's widow, gave the third and final speech, short and different in tone. The traumatic history of Russia's 20th century had, she said, divided the country, and of all our disagreements, none is more divisive than our past. She ended with a call to respect our history, which meant not just taking pride in it, but honestly and bravely judging evil, not justifying it or sweeping it under the carpet to hide it from view. Putin looked uncomfortable. The Ukrainians were furious. They had their own statue of the Grand Prince, Volodymyr as they called him. It was built in 1853, when Ukraine had been part of the Russian Empire, high up on the right bank of the Dnieper River overlooking Kiev, the Ukrainian capital. After the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, the statue had become a symbol of the country's independence from Russia. Within minutes of the ceremony's closing in Moscow, Ukraine's official Twitter account posted a picture of the Kiev monument with a tweet in English. Don't forget what the real Prince Volodymyr monument looks like. The Ukrainian president, Petro Poroshenko, elected in the wake of the 2014 Maidan Revolution, accused the Kremlin of appropriating Ukraine's history, comparing its imperial behavior to the Russian annexation of the Crimea, part of sovereign Ukraine, just before his election.